Good afternoon. My name is Anna Francis. I'm from South Carolina. You mentioned a rebranding of what we now call conservatism. And I think related to this is sort of a fear of liberality in conservatives. And so because conservatism exists to keep whatever it is that people value. And I think the thing that really binds conservatives is what we call traditional moral values, not necessarily conservatism itself. And so, like we were all given this notebook that on the back of it, it says the conservative movement starts here, but movement is liberal. So in your rebranding, do you have a new term that would sort of include the conservative movement that's not just conservatism that stays still?
That's a great question. I don't know if I have an immediate word. I mean, I like the term, I don't know, I've kind of been using the term optimistic conservatism or positive conservatism. Someone can come up with something better than that. But you know, I think this is a misconception. Like I said, I think a misconception about conservatism is that it's simply standing still and maintaining the status quo. And I think that if that's the only message that conservatives have, as I said, right, slow down, stop, keep everything the same, I don't think that's going to appeal to especially young people, but many people out there who do want change. Look, let's be honest. There are the USA's. Let me be clear. Let me be clear. And I want to say this very, very clearly: is that this country is truly a special and unique and great country. My biggest criticism of the USA is that not enough Americans understand that. I think if more Americans understood just how unique and special what you have here is, I think people all across the spectrum, I think fewer people would be undermining and trying to sort of destroy and dismantle it all from within. Because if you truly appreciate something, that's not how you behave towards it. So I think that with that said, there are certain things that there is a lot of room for improvement. We all recognize that there are things that can be better, right? And we also need to think about what are the things that can be done. Perhaps this is a question for politicians and policymakers. What are things that can be done to encourage and enable people to do and have the things I talked about before, right? Put a hand up here if you, who here wants to get married and have a family? Okay. Who thinks that that's harder to do now than it was a few decades ago? Okay. So it's good to recognize, yes, most people, marriage is a good thing. Family is a great thing. Having children is a good thing. People honestly around the world, especially in the West, are not having enough children. But we all recognize that there are a lot of barriers to this. There are economic barriers, financial barriers, there's technological issues, there's social and cultural weirdness that's going on. So what are things that we can do to make that dream more achievable for people? I think that's something that conservatives could really latch onto, right? It's great to talk about, you know, borders and reducing taxes and that kind of stuff. But we recognize, look, people want to have families, people want to do this, people want to buy houses, all of this stuff, it's gotten crazy. It's very expensive. It's very, very expensive. So what can be done? I'm not here advocating any type of socialism, to be clear, right? But what are things that can be done to make this easier and achievable for young people? I have some ideas myself. I can't go into all of them right now, but I think that's where you can have the conservatism, but also have the movement and the change with it by recognizing these things that people want and crave and desire, because those fundamental values actually have not changed for most people. I just think that it's getting harder to do them, and that needs to be addressed. Yeah.
Thank you.